debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operated line shadow on his contact again. Ronhard is around.
Melanie, surely is going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does.
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome along to WOR. Yes, that's it. World Online Racing League for the opening round of Season 12. It is PC Tier 2's turn to take centre stage and go onto the racetrack and begin their title campaigns. We've got 15 rounds of non-stop action, lots of challenging circuits, but will anyone be able to stop our reigning Tier 2 champion, JC, from taking a second Tier 2 title in a row? Or will we see a new champion by the end of it? All will be revealed by towards the end of May. My name is Jess, your commentator for the season. I'm solo commentating for the first 2 rounds, and my co-commentator Luke Etheridge will join me for the 3rd round of the season on February 6th. But we are super excited to get this season underway. Happy 2022, everybody, if I haven't spoken to you since then. And we've got some fantastic tracks on the calendar, some new tracks as well that hasn't been to WOR PC before, and of course the challenging circuit of Jeddah as well that the drivers have to endure as well. I'm starting to like that track on this game, but as a driver I find it quite difficult, so I can understand why some people hate it. Quite a few people like it, as I was asking a few questions earlier on about certain drivers, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Got a few things to talk about before we head to the racetrack. Let's have a look at the calendar, which the drivers will be racing at this season. So, here we go. We're starting off at Belgium tonight. One of my favourite racetracks on the calendar. Not gonna lie. And then we go to Imola for round number 2. Imola only had a few drivers, I remember, from one of the races we did in Tier 2, but surely with more people racing this season, I'm sure it's going to be more fun-packed action. Then we got Russia, then we got Netherlands, Austria, Canada. We got Monza, Bahrain, Mexico, Australia, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, France, Britain, and then, just like last season, we are going to be rounding it off in Brazil, where, to be honest, it went down to the final lap last season between Primos, who's in Tier 1 this season now, and obviously JT, what I just talked about. So, without further ado, you guys would probably want to know who is in what car. Now, there will be a few reserves tonight, but I will go through a few reserves in just a moment. So, we'll go through in order. So, in the Mercedes, we've got Lenny and Taz. In the Red Bull, we've got Fritzen and Jack. In the McLaren, we have Morgan Ball and Drake Dempsey. In the Aston Martin, we have Paul Eckermeyer and WOR Neon. Well, he's using his real name this season as Jonah Martins. In the Alpine, we have Jay Verhagen and JC. In the Ferrari, we have Mark 313 and David. In the Alfa Tauri, we have Hazy and Kevin. In the Alfa Romeo, we have Villacampa and Leroy Brown. In the Haas, we have Jack Laverty and Will Lewis. And finally, in the Williams, we have Dave Rombus 915 and Saiter. So there we go. 10 packed lineups for the teams there as well. Obviously, the drivers were able to pick once the placements were out. Quite a lot of people were happy to be in Tier 2. Some drivers were obviously a little bit disappointed. Quite a few drivers were moved down from Tier 1 down to Tier 2, but this hopefully is going to be used as a little bit of a motivation, as it were, as well. So a little bit of information about the track then. So it was first opened in 1950, where obviously the first Formula 1 calendar took place. It wasn't the first ever Formula 1 race. The first ever Formula 1 race was back in Silverstone. Juan Manuel Fangio won the first Belgian Grand Prix of the modern era. And the circuit remained on the calendar throughout the 60s. And it was a period dominated by Jim Clark. But the writing was already on the wall for the original high-speed layout. Because remember, it used to be 12 kilometres. That layout, which I have to say was quite crazy and quite chaotic, to be honest, not gonna lie. But then they shortened it to 7 kilometres around about 1979. And it returned to the circuit in 1983. And Spa-Francorchamps has maintained a regular place on the calendar ever since. It features an elevation change of 35 metres from its lowest to its highest point. Kimi Raikkonen and Lewis Hamilton share the best record at Spa with 4 victories, and Sebastian Vettel has won here 3 times. Now hopefully we could get underway very, very shortly with the action for the Belgium to get underway. And whilst we do that, we've asked a few drivers their thoughts on the season, and we'll go through as the season goes on. So FRA Jack, who was the first to answer this question, said a few points. And he finished P12 last season in Xbox Tier 2, so he was one of the few drivers that moved from Xbox to PC. So quite a big jump, but there was quite a few drivers that obviously moved there from the Tier 1 side of things as well. And it's first season with no assist back then, and he finished P3 in the last race in Brazil, so brilliant job from him. His expectations going into the season is his aim for his first league on PC will be top 10. However, it's going to be very, very difficult. His favourite track on the calendar, Bahrain or Portugal. Now, I can see why he likes Portugal. Portugal is such a lovely track, so many more elevation changes and so many nice flowing parts to the circuit. His least favourite track, well, it's France. And I can see why he doesn't like France. I absolutely hate France to drive as well, so I can see why. And who does he think will be his biggest rival in the championship? Well, he doesn't know anyone. So there we go, those are his thoughts. We'll go through a few more drivers as the session progresses, because I do believe we are about to get underway with the session, ladies and gentlemen. So grab your popcorn, let's get cracking for the season opener of season 12. So I am just going to get the action up in 3, 2, 1. So not like PC Tier 1, we have got a 18-minute qualifying session, a short qualifying session for the drivers, so they only have one shot to get it right. So we're seeing Saito coming onto the circuit right now. He's one of the first drivers to go onto the circuit, and there's a few drivers right in front of them as well. Quite a few interesting corners, obviously the infamous El Rouge coming up as well, which I love. A few people could go off a little bit there as well, but remember, before the performance patch came, the curves were a little bit more deadly, as it were, as well. But to be honest, it was a lot easier when they changed it ever so slightly as well. And there was a few people that also took their first Formula 1 victory here as well. And Bruno Senna actually set the only fastest lap of his F1 career here at the Belgian Grand Prix in 2012. So that is interesting to see. So we are going to see how everyone does as well. I'm just trying to see what Saito's thoughts were for the season, because he DM'd me quite last minute about what's his thoughts going into the season. So I will try and get that up for you. I probably have to get it up on my phone. So sorry if you can hear a little bit of a buzz noise. So I'll go through it quickly before he starts his lap. So he was in Tier 1 Xbox, another driver that got migrated over from Xbox to PC. And he finished P4, finished for podiums, regularly coming out in the end. His favourite track is Spa, and his least favourite is Portugal, and his biggest rival is Dazed Rhombus, another one who has moved over from Xbox to PC. And actually Dazed Rhombus is doing both Xbox and PC this season, so that is great to see. So let's go on board with a lap then around this beautiful circuit as we head towards turn number 1 then, heading towards La Source. Heavy braking zone. Some people just move to the right a little bit. Sometimes I like to do that as well. Go to the left-hand side, then to the right of our go into the runoff. That's where we see a few people go off as well. Heading towards the Long Kemmel Straight. This is the DRS zone where we'll see quite a few overtaking opportunities here tonight. Heading towards Les Cons, we've seen a few people go 3 wide, and we know how that turns out as well. That doesn't go very well, and I hope these drivers do not have the same issues as well as they head towards Brussels now as well, and then into the corner. No name. There's so many names you can name a corner, but I like to call it no name. Turn 12, heading towards Pouron. He's a little bit off the circuit there, trying to get the curb. 7th gear on entry. It's only a fraction of a second that you need to lift, and the corner that you need to build your confidence with as soon as you start. So I think a few people will be a little bit more confident as they do their laps. Past campus and heading in towards turn 15 and 16 of Stabilo. Brake when the front left tyre has reached the red, and yellow curbing on the left. Now heading towards Blanchimont of turn 17. They're flat out corners these days. Turn 17 isn't one you'll notice, but you need to position correctly into turn 18 or you'll run very, very wide. Be aware as well that the track is very narrow as well. You can pass, but it's probably best waiting for the final chicane of the bus stop. Now heading towards the final few corners, then he goes. And let's see what lap he is going to set himself today. 1:41.9. Expect time to be around the 1:41s, 1:40s today as he finishes his lap. So kind of a respectable lap time for the Williams driver. As we're seeing more people on their laps. Let's just see who's about to cross the line. We've got 2 of the Red Bulls crossing the line. We've got Jack, who I was speaking about earlier on. He just come across the line. P5 for him. Not quite in the 141s yet, but he's getting there as well. What about his teammate of Fritzen? He comes in 3rd. Jack Laverty, who moved down from Tier 1, obviously showing what he's made of here in Tier 2. Very respectable time for him at 1:41.7. We've got the Alpine cars coming across the line. We've got JC, our reigning Tier 2 champion. He comes across the line in P7. We got one driver who's on the mediums. You may have noticed some people are on the medium compounded tyres, mainly because they only get 3 sets of softs for the qualifying session, and you don't really want to be using your softs this early on with some of these drivers, and some drivers will probably want to get a feel for the track. So that is obviously what Kevin is doing in the AlphaTauri. So there's only 18 drivers tonight. Camille is filling in for Jay in the Alpine tonight. So good to have him here. We've got Leonard, who's also filling in for one of the Haas drivers tonight as well. So good to have him here. And we've got Simon Reiter, who is also here as reserve as well. I think he's meant to hear that. And Lenny Papinta, who also got moved down to Tier 2. He comes across the line and he's in P2 respectively. Very, very good for him. Not quite on the standards of P1 at the moment, but I'm sure you can find some more time. We've got obviously Hazif in the AlphaTauri. Now apologies if I get any of these names wrong, but surely, hopefully, I'll get these names right. And I've asked the drivers before, obviously, the stream to say if you think I pronounce your name wrong, just please message me, and hopefully I'll get your name right eventually. At the moment as well. Now, some of these drivers obviously reserved in Tier 1. Some people finished low in Tier 1 last season as well. So, obviously, they have a little bit less pressure because they don't have the eSports sweat in this lobby. And these guys are the upcoming stars, and they're going to really show everyone why they could have a sport in Tier 1 in seasons to come. As we got a few people on the lap, actually, and Alfa Romeo is just moving out the way of Hazif at the moment, as we've got a few people that just come across the line, actually, who's just improved their laps. I didn't see who that was, but Hazif heads towards the bus stop chicane of turn 20, heading towards turn 21. Final corner he goes, and it is going to be a 1:42.281. It's going to be P13 for him at the moment. Quite close times for all the drivers. Very, very respectable. As we're seeing more drivers going to the pits. The only one on their outlap at the moment is obviously the reserve driver tonight of Camille. And obviously he didn't have time to answer his questions because he didn't even though he was racing tonight. So that's why. But maybe if he's racing again next week, he can answer the questions as well. Obviously, Leonard, another reserve tonight, I believe, is also going to be on his out lap as well. There's 3 drivers yet to set a lap time mark as well, so they want to get their out laps done very, very quickly. Hopefully they haven't used all their soft tyres runs early on as well, because otherwise it would be a bit of an issue for any one of these drivers. But, you know, it is the opening round of the season. They've got plenty of rounds to find their feet a little bit, but I know some people find their feet very, very quickly, and they're the favourites to win the championship, and it's all about consistency. JC proved that last season. Consistency helps him win a championship. I mean, he won the first race last season, and the stats show at the moment, if you win the first race, you are very, very likely to win the championship. So, that is what most of these drivers are going to hope for today, is to get their first win under their belts. As a few more people, actually, are going on other laps. We've got Jonah Martins. He was on his second lap on the soft. I think he was the one who went up on a lap. 141.7 at the moment. But let's see how Camille is doing. Currently sitting in P18. He's invalidated his lap time. So that is not good. So you'll probably go into the pits, or you'll probably go on one more lap on the softs. Now, tyre degradation, not too bad around here. So maybe one extra lap on the softs won't be too bad. But if you do 2, just like Hadif and Jonah did, then you're going to have to pit extremely early as well. And you have to stretch your mediums just a little bit more, and ideally you do not want to do that. So Camille has invalidated. What about Leonard? Has he been even more luckier compared to his rivals? Well, we'll have to find out very, very soon as he heads towards past the salt and in towards our Rouge. We'll see what the set to 1 times is as he goes up the hill quite nicely there as well. Some people having to live through El Rouge because they're not as comfortable as of yet. But you're going at almost 200 miles per hour here. Let's see what he does when he gets to the end of the strap. I think it's about 205, 210. 202, I was close. 30.1 is his set to 1. Not quite purple at the moment. Oh, as he hits the wall and he's out of the session. I seem to be following people on hot laps and they seem to be getting bad luck at the moment. So yes, Leonard will be starting no higher than P16, and someone almost had a similar fate of the Ferrari. I believe that was Mark. Yes, that was Mark, actually, and his car doesn't look the best at the moment, so he's going to be going into the pits. Now, this is a guy that we got to keep an eye on, Drake Dempsey. He made his debut in Tier 2 towards the end of last season. He made his debut in Abu Dhabi, and he had a few spins, but by some miracle, he actually went on to win the race. And it just goes to show that you do not give up without a fight, because anything can happen, and he was very, very happy about that. He was speaking to me afterwards as well, and he was delighted. He couldn't even speak. So, to be honest, he is hoping for bigger and better things, and he would also want to win a championship. He comes across the line in P3. I'm just about going to see if he's actually put his thoughts about the season ahead. He hasn't at the moment, so I'm not going to follow a little bit as well. Let's... Actually, he has. Right at the bottom. I've just seen it. So, last season was his debut in WOR, as he said. And he won the Tier 4 Drivers' Championship as well. Obviously, he got promoted to Tier 2, obviously a few races earlier than expected. His expectations for the season is to probably survive, but realistically, he thinks the top 10 in the driver's standings will be nice. Well, I personally think he's probably going to finish higher, but we will have to wait and see. Favourite track on the calendar? A lot of people are saying Portimao at the moment. Actually, I probably copied Drake Dempsey's twice, so I'm probably reading Hazzy's at the moment. I actually need to read the right one. Let me read it. It was Hazzy's, actually. His favourite track was Portimao. His least favourite track is Belgium, and it's hard to say. You'll say all of them were judging by the competitive field in terms of his rivals. So that was Hazzy, not Drake Dempsey. So do apologise. I'll read Drake Dempsey's right now. So Drake Dempsey, he was reserved. His favourite track is Portimao. Least favourite track is Austria. To be fair, I can see why he hates Austria. I used to love Austria on this game as Jack Laverty goes across the line in P1 at the moment with a 1:41.3. The times could be getting close to the 1 minute 40s. We'll have to wait and see. And Drake Dempsey is going for the championship. So he is probably going to be disappointed if he does not win the championship, as is this man Jack as well, who I feel has a good chance as well. Morgan Ball in P3 I think has a good chance as well. Lenny Papinta as well. He's actually had some good races in Tier 1 last season, even though he obviously finished quite low. There were still some standout performances as well in Tier 1, so maybe it will help him shine through. Obviously, he has a little bit more experience in Belgium because Tier 1 went to Belgium last season. Obviously, Tier 2 didn't. So, I wonder he is going to beat the favourites compared to everybody else. We will find out very, very shortly. Let us know your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to be getting whole position. As I think Lanny Papinta was on a lap, but he has invalidated. Let's see anybody else on a lap. Jonas Martins, he has unfortunately invalidated as well. What about Taz? Taz is in P14 at the moment, and he is going to try and improve. I thought it would have almost been an invalidation there for Taz, but luckily it was not. So he's going to hopefully find some more time under his belt. As I've got a few mentions, actually. I was a bit worried there for a minute. But anyway, I think we're all good. So, Taz heads towards the bus stop chicane as well. And we will see. He's running out of fuel, though. So, he's probably going to be on low fuel mode for it. But is it good? It looks good. But only P13 for now. That's how close it is. Separated by about 6/10 of a second between himself and P1. This is a tight grid. Probably the closest Tier 2 grid we have seen in a long time. I wonder if Jonah Martins will be going again. I wonder if he will, actually. I wonder if he will. I think he might. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think he is because his ERS... Actually, his ERS could be deploying quite fast as well. So an interesting fact about the Belgian Grand Prix is 11 of the last 20 Belgian Grand Prix have been won by less than 5 seconds. And Belgium's usually a track where things go down to the wire quite a lot around here. So, won't be surprised if they do go side by side into the bus stop chicane and have a photo finish. I think we've quite seen quite a few times on the Xbox side. So, Hazif is going to be setting a lap as well. Obviously, he was on Xbox last season in Tier 4, looking to make a name on himself on PC. It's really nice to see, obviously, drivers coming from, like, either PlayStation or Xbox over to PC. Because obviously PC is where it's at in terms of F1 esports. When you go into the Pro Series, you have to have a PC. You have to have the PC version of the game to take part in the Pro Series. So this is obviously good experience and a bit of a warm-up for when you obviously compete in the higher level as well. So do it nice and early. Don't do it when you're about to qualify, obviously, for the Pro... Well, basically for the Pro Series. If you get to the Pro Series, don't do it then because you're going to be way off the pace of everybody else trying to get used to it. Whereas, obviously, if you go on PC before then you have a sort of competitive edge compared to, obviously, some new guys who obviously haven't made the transition to PC yet. So, here we go then. Hazif. I think it's Hazif. Yes, it is Hazif. So, he is going to be going towards the bus stop chicane now, past Monchamon as well. He's got a few yellow flags to contend with as well. So, we'll see if that has affected him. I don't think it has. He comes across the line. This is a very good lap from him. It's a 1:41.9 P14 for him. Not far behind his teammate, actually, as well. Kept in, actually, ahead of his teammate, actually, a few seconds, actually. So, I'm sure Kevin will want to improve on that. Obviously, Camille, the only driver yet to set a lap time. We do not have long to go left of the session. And has any of your, obviously, predictions changed since the, obviously, what has happened? So, and Camille has invalidated. A few people keep invalidating when I go on board. It's just like, I'm like a magnet, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a magnet. So, there we go. So, basically, we got a few champions in here. Obviously, we've got JC, 1 Tier 2 in PC. Hazif, obviously, Tier 4 in Xbox. So, a few champions. And I do believe, obviously, Canada does catch people out with all the champions, but obviously we'll get to that when we head to Canada. Do we head to Canada? Yeah, we do head to Canada this season, so that is something to talk about when we go to Canada. So we got Simon Reiter. I think that's how you say his name. Apologies if I say his name wrong, as he's on a lap as well. A few people are on their final lap, so we'll have to wait and see who will be the first person to cross the line, as Simon has unfortunately invalidated, so he won't be able to set a lap. Saiter, he's about to start going in, heading towards turn number 1 in the Williams. We've got JC, who's started his final lap. Camille, what could he do? He's about to start his flyer lap 2. The Red Bulls of Fritzen and, oh, there we go, Fritzen going towards No Name. And we've got Jack, who is heading towards, obviously, La Source. Now, here we go then. Obviously, Jack going through, through P1, and he invalidated through P1. What a shame. Taz cannot improve, unfortunately. So we're going to start to see a few people finish off their lap. So Fritzen, purple sector 2. He's almost 4 attempts up clear of his previous best. That is very, very good for him as he makes his way through Blanchimont, looking very, very good, getting full power at the moment. His straight line speed is amazing. Camille is not able to set a lap time, unfortunately, so he'll be starting at the back of the grid for his first WOR race on the PC platform. Fritzen, he now comes to a line. Will this be enough for pole position? Nope, it's not, but we're very, very, very good 3rd place. Drake Dempsey cannot improve, but what about his teammate Morgan Ball, who he heads towards the final corner as well? He's looking good with these stacker cars. Can he head towards the front row? Not quite. Only P3 knocks off Fritzen off his turf. So who's next? Is it a Williams? It is a Williams. It's an Alpine actually of JC. He comes across the line in P9. What about Chandelier Saiter? He can only manage temp 4 now. Let's cross the line. Will be an Alfa Romeo. I believe it's Leroy Brown. He comes across the line in P1, 141.337. He was purple in the final sector. Paul Eckermeyer, he comes across the line. He improves on his time, but he does not improve on this position. Could only manage 11. Lenny Papinta, what a story to be told. 141.2 for him. And that is a very, very good. He's about 1/10 clear of the rest of the field. Absolutely amazing. Anyone else to set a lap time? I think the only one to set a lap time will be Simon Viter. And he has backed off his lap. So unfortunately, he has invalidated. So that is it then. That is it then for qualifying. And it is Lenny Papinta who is on pole position for the opening round of PC Tier 2. Incredible stuff from him as well. Obviously, he's shown what he could do with the esports boys. And obviously, he's come in today to show that he wants to be a PC Tier 2 champion. So I'm very impressed with his time at the moment. We're just waiting for Drake Dempsey to go into the pit. So whilst we do that, let's have a look at how close it is between the top 11. Top 11, 5/10 per second. Top 14, 7/10 of a second. That is just amazing. Only small mistakes can affect your lap here and put you outside the top 10. It's just remarkable how these drivers have been practicing. I've seen them practicing on the Discord. It's absolutely insane. So let's go through your results then. So Lenny Papinta in the P1, Leroy Brown in P2, Jack Laverty in P3, Simon Viter in 4th, Morgan Ball in 5th position, Shazoo Fritzen in P6, Jonah Martins in P7, Drake Dempsey in P8, JC in P9, and we got Saiter rounding up your top 10. Now be starting on the soft compound tyres. Then we got Paul Eckermeyer, Jack, Taz, Kazif, Kevin, Leonard, Mark, and Camille. So there we go. That is your grid then, which is very, very exciting. So let's have a look then at the track. Qualifying is now over. Everyone has set their laps and we are about to go racing for the first time in Season 12. Some drivers will be happy with their performance so far, but there will be drivers who will be disappointed in having to put a lot more work in the race. As well as Australia in Season 1, Spain in Season 6 and Bahrain in Season 11, Belgium joins the list of nations to host an opening round of a WOR season. Let's have a look at the track. 7 kilometres long, 19 turns, 10 to the left, 9 to the right, going through the famous parts of the circuit, such as El Rouge, Radion, Blanchimont, and the bus stop chicane. Keep an eye on those corners today, as those corners where you can see the most overtakes. And here were our last winners from last season, including our Xbox champion from last season, Ronha, and of course, Jana Opmeer from the PC side. Speaking of Opmeer though, this is him and the Season 11 champion, Jake Benham, going into battle around this track as they head towards Brussels. They go side by side and Jana Opmeer gets the job done nicely, and that was him up a position as they head towards No Name. And who said you can't go 3 wide heading towards Lacombe? Well, these Xbox drivers in Season 7 proved that it's not the ideal way to take that corner, and you could probably guess what happened there. They made contact, and pretty much that was the end of their races. So here we go then. We are back underway for the formation lap, and it's a little bit overcast right now on the track, and we can see the tyre choices for people outside the top 10. So we got Paul Eckermeyer on the mediums. Let's see where he is. Where is he? There we go. Paul Eckermeyer on the mediums. We got Jack on the mediums as well. We got Taz on the softs. Hazif on the mediums. We got Kevin on the mediums as well. We got Leonard on the softs, Mark on the mediums, and Camille on the mediums. So 2 people want to go for the aggressive strategy and go on to pretty much go on overtake beast mode. And if they're not getting the overtakes done, then probably staying on softs is not the best of idea. But it is an easy one-stop race here. Soft to mediums or mediums to soft. And obviously, since it is a long kilometre track, there are only 22 laps. As I quickly run down the tyre deltas around this track, as I had it down somewhere. I thought I did have it down somewhere, but it's gone straight through my mind at the moment. So I will get it for you. I will get it. But it is a strategy that obviously the drivers have got to be aware of. So who do you think is going to win this race? I think it's going to be close, I think, between the top 4. But watch out for, obviously, the likes of Paul Eckermeyer down in P11. And I will say lap 7 to 9 will be the predicted stop strategy for the soft and the mediums. Because he is the alternate strategy pole position. He is the driver who is looking to do very well here at the moment on the alternate strategy. Jack, as well, watch out for him. And obviously watch out for the soft runners. Let us know your thoughts in the chat, as I will have the chat open on my phone. There we go, I've got the chat open on my phone. Brilliant stuff. And we will have to wait and see who will get the race victory here today. So we'll ride on board with our P3 man, Jack Laverty, as everyone is going to make their way on to the grid then. The 5 lights will await us very, very soon as we're about to get started for the first round of WOR. This is very, very exciting. I am absolutely buzzing. I hope you're buzzing as well. As I think it's Camille we're about to wait for. Yes, we are. So the 5 red lights are coming on for the opening round of Season 12 for PC Tier 2. Here's a go. Let's see who has the best start out of anyone. Lenny has a brilliant start as they meant towards that source. Into turn 1, we got Jack trying to get past E-Boy Brown into turn 1. And he does that with ease at the moment, but they're still going side by side, heading towards El Rouge. El Rouge is not an easy corner to go side by side as well. Let's see what Jake Dempsey has to say about it, as he tries to get past Jonah. He's right on the back of him at this moment in time. So many battles heading towards the Kemmel Straight. We'll see what Leroy has to do here. He could try and get 2 people in one corner. This is going to be amazing stuff if he gets this right, but he decides to back off because, like I said earlier, 3 wide into turn 1. 3 wide into Lacombe, does not mix at all. We got Frenson as well, who's also in a sandwich at the moment, and they almost made contact a little bit there as well, as the Aston Martin is trying to take full advantage, heading towards No Name, which he does. And as they head towards Poon, actually, Jonas is up into 6, so Jonas had a very good start. Well, this could be 3 abreast as well. Hopefully not. Luckily, it's not 3 abreast. Good news for me, because otherwise I would be having a panic attack at this moment in time. So we'll get the position changes in just a moment, but we are starting to see Leroy and Jack going side by side just before the Stabilo 2, and Leroy, brilliant stuff, nicely controlled as well, and he wanted to go for the send there and wanted to make a statement to Jack that he wants to score as many points as possible and fight for podiums. We got Simon as well, that's coming out of nowhere, flew Branchemont. That is absolutely insane. Hopefully they don't make contact going into the bus stop chicane. The 2 Alfa Romeos. Well, this is looking good for the Constructors' Championship, isn't it? But look at this, Simon Reiter out of nowhere is showing what he's made of. Even though I believe he's a reserve and has been called last minute, he's showing he deserves to be full-time at the moment. I have to say, this is absolutely insane. We've got JC, the champion, not doing as well as we would have liked right now. He's out of position and trying to make his way through the field, but Drake, I have to say, is a lot faster compared to JC right now. Don't forget the DRS will be activated very, very soon in about one lap's time. We'll see if the slipstream is going to come into its full effect. I wonder if anyone's going to be close for a move. We saw Morgan Ball being purple in sector 1 just for a little bit, and he almost got the move past Jack. Jack is down into P4, obviously after Simon getting past Jack into, obviously, the bus stop chicane. We'll get the position gainers in just a second as well, just so you're aware about what's happening. Lenny has already broken the 1 second window of Leroy, but I'm almost certain that Leroy is trying his best to make sure that he gets within that DRS on the next lap. He's absolutely pushing his ERS battery at the moment. He's on 56%. Lenny is on 87. Lenny has been saving it, and Leroy has had a little bit of a tank slapper. He's hit the wall, and I spoke too soon there, and he is down quite literally in last position. Well, almost in last position, as Simon is looking to close in just a little bit more and help his teammate as well. But that is good news if you're Jack, though, because I think Simon might have been caught up by that and might have been a bit distracted about that, and that's allowed Jack to be a little bit more motivated as we head towards the bus stop chicane. We're about to start lap 3 out of 22 in just a moment. Simon Viter is looking so good at the moment. He's on similar ERS compared to Lenny. He's got the fastest lap as well. He did need to use the ERS at the moment. He's got plenty of fuel as well. DRS is activated, so the detection point will be very, very soon. Lenny won't have the advantage of DRS, but because Lenny has pulled away ever so slightly, Simon won't have DRS either. But the person that will have DRS is Jack Larity, so we'll see what he can do. Is he a little bit further away to get past? We will find out very, very shortly. He's got DRS wide open. He could get the move, and if it was pretty much a lap ago, he probably would have got the move done, but unfortunately he stays behind. Let's see who else could get the move there, as well as Drake is setting quick lap times at the moment to try and close in on the likes of JC and Fritzen, so he's been looking consistent on the pace as well. Looking at the soft runners as well, Leonard has had a brilliant start. Obviously, he was the one who started outside the top 10 and is one of the 2 drivers to go on to the soft compounded tyres. And to be honest, he definitely made the right decision. He's already in the top 10. So I have to say, fair play to him. Taz, though, has not got to a great start. He's dropped down into P17. So he's going to need a miracle, may need a safety car perhaps, in order for him to get back into this race. And then we've got obviously Jonah Martins. He's gained quite a few positions as well, and he could be winning DRS as well. So watch him as they made their way past Paul Frere and heading in towards Brussels. So the slipstream, I have to say, he could be using to his full effect here. Spa is absolutely flying. Quite a few people are not using their ERS at the moment. They think they decided not to use it when they see fit, obviously because they stuck in that DRS train. DRS trains around here could be not the best place to be in, obviously because the dirty air is not the best. I tried following a car in dirty air around Belgium, and to be honest, if you're too close, you can end up spinning quite a lot, especially for the curbs. And what happened there? I got underbody damage because of it. So yeah, hopefully the drivers won't want to be in that scenario. So who's going to be the closest to go for a move? I think Jack could get past Simon here. He can. He's closer this lap than last lap. Kemmel straight he goes to the left-hand side. Does Simon have an answer there? We'll have to find out as they go late on the brakes here, as Jack keeps P2, and he is loving that move that he just done there at the moment. And his main task now is to go for Lenny Papinta in P1 as well. And Morgan Bull is sensing victory as well to try and get past Simon as well, knowing that if Jack could do it, Morgan could do it as well. So we'll see what he could do. There's a few people going onto the grass just a little bit, but they're not losing too much tyre temperature, which is good. Obviously, Put-On is quite tricky. So I know I've seen a few people run riding it today, but obviously the drivers have been putting in a lot of practice, so surely that shouldn't be a problem. As we have got, I believe, as well, quite a few more drivers thinking of some moves. And I think in a few laps' time, we will probably see people go into the pits. So will people go for the undercut nice and early around about lap 7? Or will most people go in towards about the lap 8 scenario. I think towards lap 8 will be the best option at the moment, as obviously we're seeing Drake Dempsey and JC going for a move into the bus stop chicane, keeping it very, very tight on the inside as they two go side by side. Can they keep it side by side going in towards Les Source? Hairpin. It looks like Drake had no answer. No, he's going for the switchback, the late move that he was probably looking for. It hasn't worked for some people. Almost a bit of a tank saver for him, but it is worth, even though he's got a penalty for it. Well, JC's got a penalty for it. Drake is now up into P7. My oh my, I was not expecting Drake to go for a move there, but he definitely did, and he got it committed and he got it done. So, nicely done there from the McLaren, and he is not that far actually behind Fritzen, and we're seeing some battles being made in the background between Leonard and Chandelier. Leonard is now up into 9th now. His soft pace is amazing, I have to say. Much better than his qualifying pace. I wonder if he's more a race merchant than a quali merchant, and I think that's what he's showing here today, right now. And he's on the back of this little train as well, so maybe he can try and get past this group of cars as well. We'll have to wait and see what they could do. You can see the track map as well. Still, we obviously got 2 cars who had to pit quite early for damage. Obviously, we've got Taz, who had a bit of an issue, had a bit of a spin. Leroy Brown, who had to pit for damage. Obviously, we went on board with it earlier, and he went into the wall. So, Leonard then. I think he's not going to get him yet, but you never know, because I've raced around here, and the slipstream around here is so powerful with the toe. Not many people obviously can use it in the qualifying, but they can use it in the race. Leonard could go for the move on the inside there, but with the dirty air, it's not helping him a little bit. As we're seeing Chandelier, Saiter going for... Chandler, what are you on about? Chandler, sorry. Going for his first pit stop. So Saiter going for his first pit stop. And I think it's not probably early for him to go on to the medium compounder tyres, but he's going to go into it anyway. And we'll see if he can get to the end of this Grand Prix. It lasts about, I think, quite most of the race actually, but not all of it. I think it's about 17 laps these can last for. So I think he's going to prove that he can make those last. Jack found a little bit more time on Lenny Papinta, so I wonder if Lenny has struggled a little bit in these last couple of laps with the understeer in certain parts of the circuit. Pouon, No Name, to name a few. And I wonder if Jack has had a little bit of more of an understeery setup at the moment, as Lenny has picked his first time penalty of the session, which has not helped him ever so slightly. He's joined the penalty club that JC is in right now. And that's good news if you're chasing Lenny at the moment, because you're going to try and make sure you don't get any penalties either. And I think if I was Lenny at this stage, I would obviously go into the pits right now for the undercut, because you want to try and get that gap on those fresh air mediums, and you will obviously try and get rid of that deficit that you need to. And it is still, well, we haven't actually been told about the weather, but it's starting to get a little bit brighter at the moment, so I don't think there's going to be any threat of rain. Nobody in the top 5 is thinking about going into the pit, but Jonah is going into the pits though for an early undercut as well. We've got Drake Dempsey, who is also going into the pits. JC, who's also going into the pits. So, earlier than I thought actually as well. I thought it would have been end of lap 7 these guys would have gone for, but they're doing it nice and early. Get it out of the way. There could be something that I maybe don't know of that could happen towards the end of the race. Maybe a late safety car. We'll have to wait and see. Jack is looking very, very good on his ERS, and DRS using it to full potential here, heading towards the Camel Straight. He got it before the end of the Camel Straight. He is in the lead of the Belgian Grand Prix. And look also who's coming for these guys. It's Simon Vita, but he got a corner cut towards the end of Les Combes, which hasn't helped his cause right now in this race. But still, he's on for a podium charge right now. But at the moment, it looks like Morgan Bull could be on for a net P2 here if he could keep these two drivers at bay. But to be honest, if he does not get the move done, the likes of Fritzen and Leonard could get past as well. And these drivers obviously will still need to make another pit stop. And obviously these softs can last quite a bit of time. So obviously some drivers could stretch their stints, but the undercut is quite powerful, I've noticed, around this track. So I wonder what these drivers will be thinking of as they make their first pit stops. As we'll see if Jack will be coming into the pits, because obviously he is leading the race right now. So will he be coming into the pits? Yes, he does, coming into the pit lane for his mandatory stop. Jonas does have a penalty. Lenny comes in, Simon comes in. So no undercut advantage for some of these drivers. But obviously we had a few people come into the pits. Let's watch for Jonas Martins, who's one of the drivers who pitted nice and early then in the Aston Martin. Will he come out ahead of everybody else, or will the gap just be too far for him to catch up, and it will allow obviously Jack to get to the lead? So where is Jack? He's coming out. It's going to be close, but it is Jonas Martins that takes the lead. Pitted just one lap earlier compared to his rivals has helped Jonah, but it has hindered Jack, and Jack is trying to fend off Jonah and trying to go on the attack mode. He is now the prancing horse, and he's not the defender at this moment in time. We've got the two McLaren teammates that are fighting for position. Obviously, they had to go for a different strategy because they are teammates and they obviously can't do the double stack. The double stack does not lose you that much time compared to previous games now, which I find quite satisfying, but obviously they still lose a bit more time. And that DRS trade is still growing and growing at the moment. Obviously, everyone that started on the soft compounder tyres, they will have now gone to the mediums. No one's on the soft now. And we could see actually one of the McLarens going for a move past Simon Viter into the next set of corners. And there we go. Drake Dempsey up to 10th. Will Morgan Ball did the exactly same thing. Now, these next set of corners into Paul Fraser, a lot tricky to get the move on. And he doesn't want to get held up by Simon Viter, but they're pretty much even on pace, so we'll see how he is coping at the moment. It's Morgan Ball. Morgan Ball was in Tier 3 at the start of last season. He joined Tier 2 midway through the season and did an excellent job. That's why he was obviously kept in Tier 2 this season, and he's doing an excellent job trying to fend off these guys. 5 cars. I think it was a net P4, I think, going into this, but obviously because he pitted quite late, he's now net P5 and P6, but still a lot of work to do. Obviously, he's got his teammate in front of him. Surely he would have been the one who wanted to chase with Drake, but obviously Simon has something to say about that as well. And obviously, don't forget, we got the medium runners who have yet to make a stop, and they'll be pitting around about lap 13 and 14. As we've got Leroy Brown, who has retired in the pit lane. He has had enough of this race as Jack Laverty and Lenny Pipinta get past Jonah Martins, and he is up into net P1 and P2 respectively. So it just shows that Jack and Lenny are class ahead of the rest of the field right now, and they can try and increase the gap to everybody else. I have to say, Jack and Lenny are kind of like Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen right now, and I don't know who would be which. I don't really want to go into it, but Lenny's in the Mercedes, I can't imagine obviously Max Verstappen being in the Haas car, but you know, never say never. But obviously the Haas is not the best car in real life. And the yellow flag in sector 1 will just be there for quite a bit whilst the AI car of Leroy gets out of the pits. Or it might be now Ruji Binder actually. I don't know. It was hard to tell as Jack is setting purple sectors on sectors to the dozen right now. So he's looking absolutely rapid. So that's not going to allow Lenny to close in a little bit more. Lenny has got set equal lap times right now, which he's going to try and do. So I think Jack would set the fastest lap. We're going to keep an eye on to see if Lenny will replicate that in either this lap or a lap's time. Yes, he does. They're matching on pace right now. So this is going to be a battle of the titans. Could we see this as two people fighting for the championship? Could we see a 2-horse fight? Or could we see the guys behind them fighting for the championship as well this early on? As well, we got Mortino, whatever you say his name, but wanting Team Dempsey to do well. He's doing not too bad at the moment. As we can see, Mark and Hazib trying to fight side by side, heading towards Lecom. And Mark does it absolutely nicely there. Mark is in P3. Hazib in P4 for now. And obviously Hazif struggling a little bit on those medium compounder tyres compared to the likes of Jack and Paul Eckelmeyer. Obviously Paul Eckelmeyer on the alternate strategy. So he's going to be the one who's trying to get past all the medium runners very, very soon when he goes on to the soft compounder tyres. So the train is still there between Jack, Lenny, Jonah, Drake, Simon, Morgan. Fritz and I think out of this train now. And he's got a little bit of a train of his own between JC, Saiter, and obviously Leonard. Tabs is on his own train. But he's still in this race, which I have to say, fair play to him. Even though he's had a horrible race, he pitted, obviously. He didn't get any damage, he spun. Though, he just avoided damage actually as well, but he's still going as well. And just being in the race gets a little bit of experience at the moment. So, here we go then. We're heading towards lap 11 of 22. I'm just looking at Paul Eckelmeyer's fuel usage right now, and he is running out. He's got the yellow warning light now. If you have less than 1 litre of fuel at the end of towards the end of the race, then that's when the yellow warning light is on, which means you will not get to the end if you use your method of fuel for a long period of time. Obviously, you don't have the rich fuel mixture for this game, and neither do you have the lean mixture. So you can't use the lean mixture to save a bit of fuel. You just have to do a bit of lifting and coasting, maybe short shifting a little bit more as well in certain corners to save a bit of fuel. I can't do that because I can't do automatic gears yet. There's some tracks where I can, some tracks where I can't, but there we go. As Jack gets a 3-second time penalty due to multiple warnings as he's looking to try and close in on Paul Eckelmeyer. The top 4 actually who haven't pitted are all on 3-second time penalties. And we've got Camille who started at the back of the grid. He's got no penalties. Same with Kevin as well. And Jack is almost closing in on to this train. So obviously Jack I've known for quite a long time actually. He's been on the PS4 side for quite a long time. Obviously he made the move to PC not so long ago. And I have to say he is a quick driver on his good day, and he likes Belgium as well. So I'm not really that surprised to see him do well in this tier around this track. And obviously Lenny as well, obviously hit with his advantage, obviously racing in tier 1 last season around Belgium, where the others have not. We've got Mark and Camille going side by side past the bus stop chicane as well. Both of them almost being pushed off the track almost as they head towards the source. Can we see a Drake Dempsey style switch back into that source here? No, I don't think anyone was that brave going into that source, I have to say. True fact, I did a brave move into turn 1 into that source. I wasn't meant to do it, but I kind of, you know, I went for it and I was like, oh, okay, well that was a move, okay. I was just not expecting it to go well at the moment. So there we go. We're seeing a lot of Team Dempsey fans in the chat right now. Let us know who you're supporting. We've got the Borner who's saying JC is the GOAT while he's currently sitting in P14 at the moment, but obviously we've got the top 6 who are yet to pit, so that could change. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 8. So that he was where he was obviously when he started, so a net P8 for now. And there could be late safety cars, there could be VSCs as well, there could be people involved in instance, so it could all change. It could all change, but Mark and Camille, that I have to say, that was a superb battle. It's nice to also see some battles in the midfield too for these drivers, as Leonard picks another 3-second time penalty as well, which could have an effect going into the end of this race if they're all bunched together, if they're all still in this DRS train. So you do not want to be on those time penalties, you definitely do not. I have to say Simon, not using much for his battery, and he's still closing. So his pace, I have to say, is absolutely brilliant on those medium tyres. And he's going to brake just here, around about 2nd gear he goes. Stays in 2nd gear going into the exit of the corner, now goes short shift to 3rd. 4th gear he goes as well. A little bit too further back on Drake Dempsey on this occasion. But I have to say, he's doing a good job keeping Morgan Ball at bay. Morgan Ball's probably not expecting, obviously, Simon to be ahead of him for this long. So pretty much everyone still has a lot of work to do because we're pretty much halfway into this race. Well, just over halfway. Obviously 2 laps ago, we were halfway into this race. Long laps ahead of us and a lot of concentration. So I think it will be the stage where we'll think Paul's going to pit, Jack's going to pit, Haziv's going to pit, Camille's going to pit, Mark's going to pit as well. Mark, I haven't seen him do the alternate strategy in the world. Usually he's a person that qualifies quite well and he starts on the soft compounded tyres. So this is pretty much, for me, in the unknowns for him as well. So we'll see if he's obviously faster on the alternate strategy or if he's a lot slower in the alternate strategy. But at the moment, obviously he's one of the slowest medium runners. But I think the only thing that can matter is pit stops. Will he pit now? Will he choose to pit before his rivals? Those softs can last 9 laps. End of lap 13 potentially. That could last. Or maybe end of lap 14 to play it safe. But Paul Eckermeyer though goes into the pits. So does Jack. Haziv stays out. So that will promote Jack up a few places. Lenny Pepinter obviously being promoted as well as Jonah and Dempsey. Jack, the other Jack, FRA Jack, goes into the pits, dropping down quite low at the moment. Quite a lot of the soft runners are dropping quite low as well. And it's their job, with the delta that they have and with the fresher rubber that they have, who will remain supreme and get some points. Don't forget the top 10 will be scoring points in this league. And obviously there is the stewards to worry about as well. So that will be a few things to consider as well. So that just leaves Haziv, the only driver, to make his mandatory stop. 1 stop is required here as well. So you don't have to make 2 stops, only 1 stop. And Jack is already caught up to the back of him, so surely that's a sign for him to pit. And the more that you stay out around this track especially, the more time you're actually going to lose to the guys who just pitted on to the soft compounded tyres. Well, don't be surprised if Haziv is near the back. Obviously Tad's still on those medium tyres. So I think Haziv will probably try and get past Taz anyway when those two meet each other at the moment. We're seeing a nice, interesting strategies. Now, one common thing that we are seeing here at the moment is we're seeing no hard runners today. And that is a good decision because the hards are an absolute nightmare around this track. Just don't run the hards. Don't run the hards. You lose so much time. Even though it lasts pretty much almost the whole race, just don't do it. Don't do it. So, we got our last pitter. So that is Jack in the lead of this race. We'll go for your running order, actually, because most people have pitted. So, Jack is your race leader. 6 tenths clear of Lenny Pepinter in second. Jonah Martins in third. Drake Dempsey in 4th position. Simon Viter in 5th. We've got Morgan Ball in 6th place. We've got Shazoo Fritzen in P7, who's having a nice battle, actually, with JC. But let's keep an eye on the battle between P10 and P11. Very, very tight there as well, but Leonard wanted to get the move on Paul, but Paul, with that fresher rubber, decided, yep, that position is mine. He wanted to get past ASAP, so brilliant stuff. And he's already caught to the back of this train. Could Paul win this race? Could Paul win this race from 10th position? He could show some lightning pace. Never say never for Paul Eckermeyer in P10. Obviously, he's known as WOR Moon, but obviously he has his real name in the game now, which is great to see. Obviously, with most people, quite a few people obviously going into the challenges, obviously this year or next year, I want to go into F1 Esports through the time trial route. Quite a lot of people want to use their full names. I don't want to use my full name yet, but anyway, Paul Eckermeyer ticks off another medium runner off his bucket list as he gets past Chandler Saiter, and he gets in to P9, and I'm almost certain he's going to get past JC and Fritzen as well. But it is easier said than done. You never know. Paul has got to save on his fuel. Even though he's setting faster laps at the moment, I'm just worried he's going to run out of fuel on the line. So I wonder if he has a Jeff in his ear just saying, just save the fuel. Save the fuel. Obviously, Paul has a penalty as well. So another thing to consider. JC has also got a penalty. Fritzen does not. So that's the buffer that Fritzen has. But we'll see then. Here comes Paul Eckelmeyer heading towards the Camel Straight. Most people go to the left here when they try to go for the overtake. But we're actually going to see going for the double overtake into Lecom. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does. And the camera angle wasn't very nice there. But Paul Eckelmeyer is up to P7 already. It was P11, I have to say, before the pit stops. Now he's up to P7 for pitting on the softs. Absolutely crazy. Well done to him at the moment. Got a yellow flag at the moment. It's a Ferrari, and it is Mark, I believe. 313 heading towards Lecom. So, I wonder if he's picked up any damage there, which I think he has. So, that is a bit unfortunate. So, he's now down in last place as Taz has just overtaken him. So, let's jump back on board with Paul, actually, as he tries and closes up on Morgan Boyd. He's closing in, to be honest, in a rate of knots. 2.8 seconds now. So, we'll watch him at the moment. But at the moment, let's watch Simon Viter. He's not that far behind Drake Dempsey at the moment. Jonah Martins, I have to say, has been the biggest surprise so far. P3 at the moment after starting quite low down the grid. He could be on for one of his best results here in Tier 2 WRPC. Obviously, he was in PC Tier 2 last season as well. So here we go then. Another yellow flag. That is a Mercedes, and that was Taz having a little bit of a spin right now. So that is Mark that's just overtook him once again. Train is starting to grow here right now. 2.4 is the gap between Paul and Morgan. So watch him. But Simon, can he get the move that he's looking for into Lecom? Well, Lenny Bapinto is showing that he can right now. Mark 313 is out of the race. He's retired in the pit lane. But Lenny Bapinto takes Jack Laverty through Lecom, and Lenny is in the lead. But I wonder if Jack was doing that on purpose to have the DRS in the final few laps, because that is a cheeky strategy, which obviously the F1 esports drivers like to have, having the DRS going into the final lap when they want to be on the attack. It could be too little, too late, but we'll obviously have to wait and see. But, or was it a legitimate overtake? I have to say Lenny did a superb job on those mediums. And I wonder if Jack is just struggling just a teeny little bit, as Jonah obviously is looking to get past him as well, but his penalty is looming on his head. Drake Dempsey could be on for pretty much P2. Lenny Bapinto's penalty could make the difference as well. So Jack technically is still in the race lead because he has no penalty. So as long as he's stable in Lenny's mirrors and doesn't let the likes of Drake get past him, he's absolutely fine. But he's also got to make sure he does not get any penalties either. And we almost saw Simon Viter almost get the move there. That, I have to say, that was very, very close for him making a move. But that did not work, unfortunately, for the Alfa Romeo driver. So he has to stay behind. But next time out could be his mark. So we're going to watch out the leaders first make their way through our ridge. I think Jack Laverty is a little bit further back at the moment, but he does have the benefit of the DRS. Jonas is also looking to get past Jack as well. This could be free abreast. We're going to see Jack challenging for the lead. We're going to see Jonah Martins challenging for P2. Who is going to go for this move? Jack gets P1. Who's going to get P2? Is it Jonah or Lenny going through Brussels, almost going off the track a little bit? But it is Jonah Martins who gets P2 for now. We will see the amount of penalties that both of these drivers got, because I don't know which penalties they have got. So let me just have a look. Penalty wise, both of them are on 3 seconds of penalties. So there we go. That is your update at the moment. So they are pretty much fighting for position, but the more they fight for position, it allows everybody else just to close in ever so slightly and get within their penalty range. I think it could be too late for a safety car. So for everyone in this top 6 who could win this race, this is a sprint to the finish. We have got a retirement. It's a Ferrari Jack, and I thought it would be too late for a safety car, and look at that. We have just got a safety car, ladies and gentlemen. My oh my, that was probably the biggest commentator's curse I have ever seen. Jesus, Jesus. I should not say anything about safety cars ever again. Jack's gone for the softs. Now, I wonder why he's gone for that. Because surely track position is key. I don't know, but is he going to be able to get past the medium runners at the end? I don't know. And obviously the soft runners who pitted obviously and did the medium to soft strategy, this played well into their hands. So pretty much the lose-lose situation for anyone that's done the soft to medium strategy. Because either they had to stay out and be forced to get swamped by the soft runners who have stayed out or come in, or if you're just pitted, you're going to have to try and get through as many people as you can. You may get involved in an incident and you may lose more positions than gain. I don't know, but Jack may have done a smart thing or he might have not done a smart thing, who knows, but that has changed my predictions massively, and that's probably changed your predictions massively as well. Massive shout out to everybody that is watching in the chat, 31 of you watching in the opening round of the stream of season 12. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. If you are liking what you're seeing at the moment, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when to see streams next as well. I hope you enjoyed the tier 1 stream earlier on as well. That was commentated by Ginger Andy and Dan Veal, so I hope you enjoyed that entertainment as well. But I have to say, this race has been entertaining too, so stay to the end of this race. It's going to be absolutely chaotic as well. And we got more PC streams as well coming up this week. Obviously, we got I think it's tier 3 that's been streamed this week as well. I can't remember what day tier 3 has been streamed, but I need to actually, I can actually check Discord actually, because it's got the commentary schedule. Tier 3, this Friday, commentated by Boffers and Reigns, will be your commentators for tier 3 on Friday nights. And I'm very, very excited about that. And obviously we've got PlayStation on as I'm getting a Discord call as I try to silence it. There we go. Shouldn't have the Discord call open, a Discord open when I'm streaming, because you get calls like that. But so the safety car is going to be in for another lap as well. And for those of you obviously that are new to obviously seeing safety cars this late, it has to be, I believe, at least 2 green flag laps running of racing. That's why the safety car was called, because you can have 2 safety car, pretty much 2 green flag running. That means there will be no DRS. There will be no DRS, ladies and gentlemen. So there we go. This is going to be absolutely epic, not gonna lie. So watch, grab your popcorn, get your predictions as well. And we got one of our commentators in the chat who's doing tier 3 as well for that. So, and obviously a few debuts who are racing in WOR coming up. So if you are racing in WOR for the very first time, best of luck actually as well. Hopefully the first 2 races on the WOR channel was giving you a nice warm up of what you can expect, and obviously the strategies as well. You might have done a bit more research into your strategies today by watching the streams. I just literally don't know who's going to win, and with the penalties as well, Camille, who started at the back, could win this race. Camille could win this race by just doing the alternate. Wait, what's happened to that safety car? That was weird. Anyway, he could be on the best strategy of a lifetime by just staying out. Jonas has hit the wall and Jonas is out of the session. Jonah has done a George Russell. He was on course to be winning this race and he absolutely bottled it. Oh my goodness, that was not what he wanted to do, and that has given Lenny definitely some more hope at the moment, and it's given more the soft runners some hope as well. Obviously, even though Paul is obviously the highest soft runner, he has a penalty, so that's why I wasn't talking about Paul and I wasn't talking about Hazif, but that's why Camille is the highest soft runner without a penalty. So, Here we go then. The final 2 laps for tonight for PC Tier 2 is about to get underway. Lenny Pavinta has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 soft runners chasing him down. And the medium runners have also got to defend as well. And I think Jonah Martins is definitely kicking his teeth right now. To be honest, I would be the same if I was him. So we'll have to wait and see. We're about to go green flag running for the final time tonight. Lenny has had a fantastic restart, and this could help him get the win in this race on track. Obviously, he's got the penalty, so that could help Morgan Ball on the crest as well. Watch out for Paul Eckelmeyer as he's trying to get past the medium runners as